Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter what time it is. It's Pacific Standard Time, 12 o'clock, and we're ready for another seminar with your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Kelly girl, say hi.
Hello.
There's Kelly girl.
Can you see me?
Nope, not even a little bit.
Oh. Hello. Hello.
No one can see you. All right, gang. Thank you for listening in to Story Time yesterday. That was a big hit. We got a lot of great messages after Story Time. If you haven't heard the Grunion story yet, I suggest you go back and look at that. A lot of people shared it with a lot of their friends last night. Pretty funny story. So thank you all for watching that. Gang, I need you all to go over there still and share that video and leave a comment on that video on our Facebook page. How to tie the double uni on top of that microfiber rag, the yellow one. I need that thing to hit 100. I need that thing to hit 10,000 views. So I need y'all to help me. We're going to give away another t-shirt. Go over there and share that video. Ralph Burt won the shirt yesterday. Kelly's sending that out to you. It'll probably come out on Monday because of the holiday, but she ordered it on our website already and got it on its way to you, Ralph. So thank you very much for sharing that video and leaving a comment. And the rest of you could all join and do that over on our Facebook page. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. Your saltwater guide. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. All right. So do that for us, pretty please. Go check it out. Also, check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcast. We're available every day on there. If you're not unable to watch the show, you can always listen to the show while you're driving around, or you can listen to it while you're at work. Put in your headphones and you can listen, and that way they won't catch you watching us on screen. Because I know when you're at work, the last thing you want to actually do is participate in the act of work. So check us out, yoursaltwaterguide.com, every day at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Today, gang, we're going to talk about this size limit deal. It just baffles my mind every time I post pictures. And for example, we'll go back to the day when I posted the pictures of those small yellowtail. Those small yellowtail, it's totally legal to take those. They were all totally legally taken. The size limit has been made long time before most of you were even conceived or thought about being born. Back in the olden days, they used to actually do science on the fish. Now they don't. Now it's all politically driven. But back in the old days when they set these limits on fish, they did it with science. And they figured out that fish do this or do that and spawn this or that many times. And then the size limits were set, and that's the way it is. And taking legal fish should never, ever be crucified. If you don't agree with it, if you don't agree with the taking of legal size fish, then you probably shouldn't be involved in the fishing world, shouldn't be involved in the whole thing. And we surely do not need you on social media putting up negative things. And I'm going to go over to another thing. There's a picture of my beautiful wife with her thresher shark that was 100% legal to take. There's a size or a possession limit on those. They're phenomenal to eat. And the amount of people sharing negative about it is absolutely crazy. What I don't understand, and this has baffled me for a very long time, people say don't take the big ones because those are the spawners and you need them to reproduce. And then people say, don't take the small ones because they haven't had a chance to spawn. So they're the ones you can't take. Don't take the big ones because they're going to spawn. Don't take the small ones because they haven't had a chance to spawn. This goes with all fish, not just this thresher shark that we show a picture of that we thought was such a cool day. And we took that fish home and we fed ourselves and we fed our family and we fed a lot of our friends with that fish. Very good eating fish. But here's the disconnect. I don't understand. I'm so confused. Should we take the big ones or should we take the little ones? Or should we take any of them? Or should we just stop fishing altogether in the great state of California? Would that make most people happy if we just did not fish? Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the cure. Maybe not fishing anymore is the cure. I don't understand why, if you're involved in this fishery, or if you're involved in fishing, or if you enjoy fishing at all, why do you feel the burning desire to share negative? Jump on someone else's post and share negative. If you don't believe in what we're doing, I was talking about this yesterday at Thanksgiving dinner. Here's what we used to do when we were young. If we didn't like what was on TV, we changed the channel. If we didn't like what was on the radio, we changed the channel. I don't understand why we feel this burning desire to cancel. If you don't enjoy what I do, and if you don't like what I do, there's no reason. I never thought when I was young, God, I need to call KCOP and tell them I don't want to watch Hobo Kelly anymore. Or I never thought Wonderama, I got to call KTTV and tell them I don't want to watch Wonderama. You need to take it off the air. Same thing with this fishing thing, gang. If you don't want to see what we're doing, don't watch. It's pretty simple. You don't need to try to cancel everybody or everything. Change the channel. Go watch something else. Go do something else. But gang, I don't understand. If the fish are legal to take, we're going to take them because we like to eat fish. My children love to eat fish. My wife loves to eat fish. I love to eat fish. Don't worry about how many we're going to take. We're not going to take more than we're allowed by law. So you need to understand that. And the limits were set up by people that are smarter than you and I. And they're working on trying to make it so we don't take anything. I understand that. So stop trying to help them. You don't need to help them close more stuff. We don't need more stuff closed. The stuff that's closed is fine. The stuff that we're not allowed to take anymore is fine. But just move on. If you don't agree, just move on. It's going to be okay. Everything will be all right. I promise I won't take more than I'm allowed by law. But let's think about it for a little while. Let's stop the madness. And then let's talk about what's going on in Southern California right now. There are squid everywhere. There is so much squid out there right now. It's all over the place because we're back into a cold water cycle. So this squid has showed up, and it's showing up everywhere. It's out there on Iser's Reef. I cannot imagine that it skips from Iser's Reef all the way to San Diego. There's supposedly squid in La Jolla right now, but whenever that squid shows up at La Jolla, boy, we're not supposed to talk about that. That's owned by a couple of guys down there. There's a couple of fishermen down in San Diego that own La Jolla. They own it. They don't like any other boats coming in there. It's the most craziest thing you've ever seen. Those two guys that think they own La Jolla create havoc for everybody down there. It's crazy. But there's squid in La Jolla. I know we're not supposed to talk about it. I know Angry Skiff Guy gets super pissed if we talk about anything in La Jolla. I'm sorry, but there's squid there, and that brings sea bass and yellowtail and all that other stuff. But it's okay to go down there. But here's the deal, gang. You up at Iser's or up at Santa Monica Bay or over at Catalina right now, there's so much squid that you can actually catch it during the daytime on your squid catchers. Now, I know today's not Pro-Mar Tuesday, but we're just going to talk about it anyway. Those squid catchers work very, very well during the day to catch that squid. It lays on the bottom on its squid nest. But what I see people doing is jerking the rod up as hard as they can. No, you drop your squid jig of any type. I don't care what kind it is. The Ganyan, the squid jig Ganyans, the multiple hook rigs, the squid jig itself, whatever you're using. You drop it to the bottom. When it hits the bottom, you slowly wind it up 10, 12 cranks. Then you drop it back to the bottom. And then you slowly wind it up 10, 12 cranks. If you feel a little tension on it, just keep winding. If you've looked at the squid jig, it has no barbs on it. It has like needles. So if you jerk and then it free falls back down, the hooks fall out of it. If you keep winding, the hooks will stay in the squid's tentacles. When you get to the surface, you bring it over to the bait tank. You simply turn the squid jig upside down and the squid will fall off into the bait tank. It works flawless. The funny thing is, this goes back to the limits thing, because I'm reading posts over on other websites talking about the squid boats and the purse seiners out there catching this. Gang, that squid, it spawns and it dies. And the reason we're able to catch it is because it's in that area right now. It comes into these areas to lay its eggs. When it comes into this area to lay its eggs, it's going to come to the surface to spawn. It's going to lay its eggs, and it's going to die. So the squid boats, the purse seiners that are catching the squid, they're not devastating the population of squid. That's the furthest thing from the truth. What they're doing is they're getting all that squid out of there before it spawns and dies and lays on the bottom and rots and turns white and lays down there and rolls around with the tide, and it's just dead, and it just creates nothing but havoc down there. It's okay for the squid boat, the purse seiners, to come in and catch that squid. They've been doing it for a very long time, and it has not affected the population of squid in any way, shape, or form. So you need to quit going on the boards and saying, oh my God, the squid boats are in here. They're going to wipe out the squid. No, they're not. They help it. It's harvesting an animal that's going to die anyways. And they're harvesting it and they're using it for food, and they're feeding the world population. It's a win-win for both. It's a win for us as fishermen, and it's a win for the world because they're catching a full of protein product, that squid, and once it spawns, it's dead. I don't know if you've ever had squid in your bait tank, but if it lays eggs, that squid dies. As soon as the eggs are laid, it dies hours later. It's just the cycle of nature. So it's not a bad thing for these squid boats to come in here and catch that squid. It's not going to hurt anything. It actually helps. It keeps the ocean much more healthy. You don't have a bunch of dead animals laying all over the bottom. When that dead animal's laying all over the bottom, rolling around, you won't have those squid nests aren't going to be healthy. That squid's going to lay its eggs and split. If we've seen anything, we see that when the purse seiners are in there catching, wherever they are, when they're in there catching squid, there just seems to be more and more and more squid. It just keeps coming out of the depths into these areas where it wants to spawn. It's a good thing. Trust me, it's not a bad thing. Lose the negative conversation when you're sharing about something you don't know anything about. Just because you don't know about it doesn't mean you need to share neg. Those squid boats are helping the squid population. They're helping all of us as fishermen. They're keeping that bottom clean, and they're also helping the squid come in. And they don't want the eggs anyway. The eggs go back into the ocean. The eggs get laid down there. Fish won't eat the eggs if you've seen them, and they're in that sack. That doesn't taste good to fish. It's going to lay on the bottom. They're going to hatch. They're going to make lots of little baby squids, and everything's going to be good. So understand what's going on out there. It's not a bad thing. Plus, it's super regulated. They're just not handing out permits to everybody. There's a exact amount of permits that are given out. Those are the only permits that are given out. It's all been done with science. They know they're not going to destroy the population of squid. So you need to relax. Quit saying that they're destroying the population, because that's not what's happening. And right now there's squid everywhere. And if they were wiping out the population, it would have been all gone. But all we had to do was wait for the cold water to come back. The ocean works in cycles, and we'll talk more about the cycles on Monday, because everything's cyclical in the ocean. The biggest problem today is no one has time to wait. My age group, we were the first people my age, the baby boomers, we were the first people to get the microwave. So it's a microwave culture that we live in. We don't have time to wait for anything. We need it right now. We don't have time. We put our coffee cup in the microwave to heat it up for a minute, and we stand there and stare at it for a minute because we don't have time to wait. We need stuff to happen right now. And that's the problem. We don't have time to wait for the cycles to come around. You look at what's going on with this bluefin right now. This cycle hasn't happened since the 1800s, but it's here now and it's happening. And if they would have got their way and they would have closed bluefin forever, none of us would have been able to catch these bluefin. So be careful the words you choose. Be careful what you say on the internet. Be careful on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or BD Outdoors, or wherever you like to spew your negativity. Be careful, because people are actually listening. And those of you that are spewing most of that negative, you don't even know what you're talking about anyway. So just be careful what you're saying. Understand what's going on out here. And it's a big cycle. And the cycle of life is phenomenal in the ocean right now. Southern California is seeing unbelievable amounts of squid. And it's only going to get better as the winter goes along. So just hang in there. Be cool. Watch what happens. The snow crab thing up in Alaska, it's a tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy. There's plenty of crabs. The guys that fish for a living up there will tell you there's plenty of crabs. There's plenty of crabs. It's a control thing. If you don't think this is all this regulation and all this baloney that's going on right now is about control and not about the animal, then I'm sorry. You didn't see what happened the last 3 years here in the world. It's all about control. It's not about the population of the animals. It's not you're not going to devastate that snow crab thing with those cages on those boats. The ocean's vast, way too big, but they were able to control that, shut out all those people and knock them out so they can all be dependent on something else. And you all know what that is. And that's what they're hoping for, is that we're all dependent on that one entity and not being able to go make a living on the ocean, not being able to go fish for fun or for a living. That's the key. That's the goal. That's where they're headed. That's what they want more than anything. And who are they? You don't have to look very far. You can figure out who they are. Very simple. There's no lack of crabs up there in the Bering Sea. There is not. They're just, the controlling people are way too powerful. There's no lack of lobsters in Southern California. There's no lack of bluefin offshore. There's no lack of, remember, there's still people walking around right now that think that the bluefin are almost extinct. But we got commercial fishermen that fly around in airplanes and see more bluefin than they've ever seen since they started flying in the 60s or 70s. They're seeing more bluefin right now than they ever saw before. Nothing. It's all cycles. Everyone needs to take a deep breath. Everything's going to be okay. I'll be with you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Be kind to each other. Check out our videos. Please try to make that video by the end of the weekend. Hit 10,000 views. The tie in the double uni. I'm doing it on that microfiber rag. It's very simple to see it. Go over there, share it, like it, watch it. Watch it as many times as you can. Put it on loop. Watch it 1,000 times in a row, and then I'll hit my number. I need it to hit 10,000, gang. That's what I need. Also, check out all the cool videos I made with Kelly catching those rooster fish. We got some great content there. Check it all out, but understand there's plenty of squid, there's plenty of bluefin, there's plenty of calico bass, there's way more rockfish than our children's children could ever catch. But it's all about control. That's what it's about. And if you don't think it matters to you because you only fish for marlin or you only fish in Mexico, believe me, they're coming for all of us. Anybody that goes outside and has a suntan, they're coming for you. Bye.